Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Elder Trolls Gaming Podcast. We are three brothers who get together and talk about gaming and everything gaming. Everything. We also talk about tech, TV, movies, and other nerdy things, too. I am Take It Easy Jono.
And I'm Nasty Nate.
And I am Dandalf, the Wise.
And Dandalf the Wise is joining us offline. He's actually offline right now, if you can believe it.
It's true.
Dandalf is recording offline, recording his video and audio both locally because his internet took a giant dump and he can't even join us in Zencaster. So we'll see how it goes.
Having problems. They've been having problems.
See how it happens. And today we will be discussing enemy and NPC AI in games. We'll touch a bit how it works and talk about some games that historically have been known for both good and horrible AI. I think Dandalf did some research in this area.
That's correct.
That is correct. Yeah, so I'm fucking exhausted right now. Jeez, man.
My back is killing me from hockey last night. I don't know why.
You're a pussy. You're such a pussy.
Oh, and because I was outside digging trenches. Outside digging trenches because my sub pump, where it's pumping out the water, it just makes a big pond now in between, those two trees and then my patio stones?
Yeah.
It just pools water there into a massive pool of water. So
isn't there a hole?
The company, whatever they did, they didn't do it right, obviously.
Oh.
They just put like this container in the ground. They didn't like dig a bedrock underneath the container, like where the reservoir where the water holds. It's like a little bucket. So it just fills with water and then comes out the top and into a big pool.
What?
Yeah, so there was no holes in the bottom of this bucket that goes into like a bedrock. They didn't do any kind of like...
How deep is it?
Excavating. What, the bucket?
Yeah.
Like a foot, maybe? It's like a little bucket. It's not big. Yeah. So then I was like, well, how am I going to make it so the water doesn't keep going onto my patio stones? So I dug a trench about 6 foot out towards the back of the yard. And then I dug about a 2 foot hole, like the size of like a Home Depot bucket. Okay. And then the water would flow through my trench and into this hole I dug. I was like, good, sweet. But then there was so much water pumping out that, no, obviously the water in that hole that I dug doesn't go anywhere.
It doesn't seep into the ground?
It doesn't seep into the ground like I thought it would. I put some rocks there to like disperse, but you need like a massive bed of rock for it to disperse the water properly. And my 2 foot or my Home Depot bucket sized hole isn't going to do it. So then I reversed everything. I filled everything back up. So now I'm going to call our buddy Eric. And we're going to dig a trench all the way to the back like I wanted to do in the beginning.
A trench? Are you going to put like a PVC pipe in there?
like a 2-inch pipe all the way to the back.
Yeah.
And then we're going to make like a little pond under the hedges, like a rock pond.
Isn't that what like most houses are?
Well, that's what I was going to do, and I was going to tell those idiots to do it, but they just came in the middle of the night when everyone was sleeping and dug the pipe.
They just did it in the middle of the night?
Not in the middle of the night, but like...
They're all dressed in black. They're dressed in black. They're like, ugh.
We woke up. I came back from work, and Alma woke up from her night shift, and it was already done. They had already ripped up all our patio stones, put the pipe into the ground, and that's it. And then they see you later. And now we have this thing just overflowing with water onto our patio stones. It's fucking stupid.
Wow.
So I got to fix that.
Wow.
But just a big old trench. If you want to come and dig a trench with me all the way to the backyard, all the way to the back fence.
Me?
Pretty cool.
You asking me?
Hey, what are you doing?
I feel like you guys should be wearing, if you do that, you should be wearing like black and white striped jumpsuits.
We got pickaxes. No, we're just like yellow. We're in like orange jumpsuits.
It won't take long. It's not like my backyard is massive or anything. It won't take long.
Oh my God. Yeah.
If I have enough people, just dig a trench real quick. Maybe an hour. If I got like 6 guys, just dig a trench real quick. Fill it with rock. Like halfway with rock. And then we got to angle the rock properly so the pipe goes down on a little tiny bit of a slope all the way to the backyard, all the way to the back fence. Fill it. And then I'm going to get some sod. Put some sod on top. Done.
Huh.
That's it.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, all right.
All because
Oh.
people didn't do their job properly. See that?
Yep. Because they don't ask us questions; they just come and do what
Shocker.
they think we wanted. But
Well, yeah, I am also tired because I woke up at like 7 a.m. this morning after going to bed late after playing hockey, and I couldn't get back to fucking sleep this morning. I'm just a zombie. I'm just like, I was walking around like feeding the dogs, like bumping into things. Just a complete zombie. Anywho, anyway.
I went and saw Oppenheimer last night, guys.
Oh, right.
right.
It was very cool. It was very cool. I would say that the movie kind of falls under the sort of Dunkirk category of Christopher Nolan's more grounded experiences. I will give a fair warning though.
it's just news.
No, it's long. Nathaniel, I don't think you would handle it in theaters. It's like 3 hours. I'm pretty sure.
Well,
And
I'm
there's
going to
just
go
a
see
lot
it.
of there's a lot of dialogue, and it's rather political. There's a lot of bureaucracy rooted in the middle of the film. But all in all, a lot of cool shots. A lot of cool shots. I can't see his face, so
He bowed forward and
eyes-
started snoring on his mic.
his eyes rolled back in his head.
Yeah.
But it's still a cool movie because, like, great actors. You got Cillian Murphy, you got Robert Downey Jr., you got Matt Damon, tons of people Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh.
RDJ's in it?
Yeah, one of the main characters.
Really?
So, cool movie. I am curious to see it on the OLED because of very particular shots. I won't go into detail. But on the whole, I'd say it was good. I like Dunkirk more, and obviously his previous films. But a very important story. I feel like it's a good story, so you guys should check it out. I wonder what you think.
Are there aliens and UFOs in it?
No, unfortunately.
Do they come and stop him from blowing up the
Interesting.
bomb?
Interesting that they left that part out.
Yes,
No.
the obvious truth. They left the truth out.
I will be going to see it in IMAX on August.
do that.
August.
Did you see
1st or
like
something?
the videos of him on like Instagram or TikTok or maybe even Twitter where he's like showing how big the IMAX reel is of the film? It's like this massive, like it's the size of a round table of film for the movie.
So apparently, was it Tom Cruise that was upset, or the studio that did the Tom Cruise movie, the Mission Impossible?
Maybe.
Because Buddy, who did Dunkirk, what's his name? Nolan. He's like
Nolan.
he does like deals with the IMAX people with their technology. So he uses IMAX technology on set.
Yeah.
So he gets, how you say, like dibs on IMAX screens or something like that for longer periods of time.
Really?
And Mission Impossible and Tom Cruise did not like that because now they're
Yeah,
going to kick
yeah.
Tom Cruise out and put Oppenheimer in for X amount of weeks, right?
They're kicking Tom Cruise out of the theater.
He's going to get
Tom's
Zemo
also
on their
very-
asses.
I feel like Tom's also very involved in the production of movies these days that he's in, especially where he designs these movies to like be really sweet cinema experiences. So that would probably piss him off. Yeah, because he's not just making a movie and then that's it. Like he's got his hands in all the pies.
Isn't he refusing to do like Netflix stuff? Like he only does theatrical
Yeah,
releases.
he's a huge cinema head. Yeah, he'll spend all day at the theater just watching new releases, which is sweet. I love that idea. I love how much he loves movies because
He's a fucking weird guy, but
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I like him. I respect
too.
him. But he's a fucking weird guy.
yeah, for sure. I mean,
You can't
I'm
not
sure they
respect
all
him. Like he's jumping off fucking cliffs
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
motorcycles,
exactly.
dude. He did it 6 times to get that shot from
Exactly.
the new Mission Impossible movie. He
that's 'cause
jumped
he's
off
got-
a cliff 6 times on a motorcycle in one day. Like,
Yeah, just to get
that's
the
fucking
shot.
nuts.
Yeah, because he's fucking insane.
Yeah.
He's insane.
I mean, and they're paying him shit tons of money, so obviously he's gonna. But
And he
I just feel
knows.
like he genuinely loves the audience. He loves people who go to movies, and he wants,
Yeah.
and he makes the movies for them, right? He's like, this is why I do what I do because I love movies, and I love that people go to watch movies still, and like that's what his experience. That's what he works toward. I think that's his end game. Is people going to watch movies in the cinema as opposed to sitting at home.
You know what would be cool? If they had OLED screens at movie theaters.
Yes.
Can you
How
imagine?
big are those fucking screens?
Can you
Those are
imagine?
massive. Those are like 400-foot screen, no? Like what the fuck? How big are those screens?
400 feet.
It's just like
The
one.
IMAX are fucking huge. They're huge IMAX
Oh yeah,
screens.
I haven't been in one in ages. It's been a long
Oh,
time.
that's all I go to now. It's the only way I'll go see a movie now is in IMAX. It's the only way I'll spend the money
The
to
IMAX
go
screen
out.
is 52 by 72 feet. It's not 400 feet. But like,
Well, you know what, Tom? I'll go watch your movie in IMAX before Oppenheimer comes out. How about that?
That would be
Oppenheimer's
cool.
already out. What do you mean?
It is.
Oh,
already-
is it? Okay, sorry, Tom.
He just saw it.
No. He
Sorry,
might
Tom.
have meant before you go and see it. But I don't care what you see. But I was thinking about that while I was watching the movie. I was like, there's no point coming to these theaters anymore. This looks way worse than my television at home. But I'm here for the experience.
Well,
'cause
that's
my
what
buddies
that's
want
what
to go.
Jonathan. That's what Jonathan's been saying, right? But I only go if I'm going IMAX. I will not go any other
Which makes sense.
non-IMAX screen.
Yeah.
I just don't care. I just don't care. Sorry, Tom. My home theater is better than the shitty movie theater.
Well, Tom, why don't you go over to Jonathan's place and watch a movie?
Come on over, Tom. We'll watch.
You know what? I like that idea.
I like that.
You
All
and
right.
me sitting on your couch together. I have a. Did you guys watch? Did you see? Maybe you haven't been to the theaters yet. I don't know how brand new this is, but there's a Gran Turismo movie coming out.
Yes.
I saw the theater last
Yes,
night, or the preview.
That's old news.
Okay, I don't know how to feel about it. It looked meh. It looked like I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10 total. That's the only. I don't know.
It could be a good surround sound theater
Yeah.
movie. I would say that.
Yeah.
That would be a cool one.
It said it based on a true story.
It is.
Yeah,
Like a
apparently
dude-
there's these
I remember
Gran
when it
Turismo
happened. I
nerds
remember the
Oh, really?
yeah.
that
Wow.
put in a bunch of cars.
Because they really needed drivers for. I think it was for. Was it for Le Mans?
What game was he
don't
playing?
remember.
Gran Turismo 2?
Gran Turismo. No, it was recent. Pretty recent.
Oh, really?
Uh,
Gran Turismo 2.
Who's in it?
And then I
David
guess they
Harbour's
trained
in
him
it.
up to they trained him up to be a
Grouch.
driver. I don't think he did well, from what I remember at the race that he was in. Like they didn't, because their car I don't think was very good. It had durability issues. But I mean, the story is cool. It's cool, but I'm sure they'll dramatize everything. You know.
Yeah.
Oh,
for
yeah.
Sure.
Anyway,
Let's get into. I just want to talk about. I got my PSVR 2 back, boys.
Oh yes.
I had Gillis from Bear Gilles Gaming YouTube channel.
Bear Grylls.
Bear Gilles Gaming and his girlfriend over for some games. I let him try out the PSVR 2 and he was fucking blown away. Like his mind was melting.
He hadn't tried it before.
No, he's never tried VR before, I don't think.
What? Really?
Yeah, and I put
Gillis.
the VR on him and he was just I gave him Pavlov to fool around in because he's like big into like the military shooters, like the realism based military games, military sims, all that kind of stuff. So I gave him Pavlov to try out, and oh my god, I wanted to record him, but he'd burst out in like his excitement laugh and how awesome it was, and then he would die down for a bit. So I'd get my camera out, I'd be like, I should have just been recording him constantly, but like him like reloading the guns, shooting the guns, he was blown away. And he's like, I'm getting this tomorrow. And his girlfriend's like, no, you're not.
I'm going to spend $1,500 on PSVR 2.
I was like, I don't know, Gillis, you could spend $3,000 on a 4090, or you can spend half that, get a PS5 and a PSVR 2, and both you and Elaine can play PlayStation. She's like, yeah, I like that idea. I was like, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Is that what
Well,
he's
that
gonna
was-
do?
that was
Instead of
pretty
a
sweet.
4090?
He was very interested in it. I don't know if he's going to do it or not, but he almost woke up the next
leave
morning.
a comment. Let us know what you're going to do.
yeah.
Just tell us. Hey, let's get into game time.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome back. What are we playing? What are we playing, guys?
What am I playing? You guys want to know what I'm playing?
Let me guess.
15 different games.
Ragnarok, PSVR 2, Ragnarok. And that's it.
Diablo.
Oh, Diablo. Yes. Of course.
And I picked up Pokemon Brilliant Diamond on Amazon Prime Day
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
for
how old is that? How old is
$50
that?
or something? A couple of years, 2021.
It's a Switch game.
Yeah,
Man,
remake.
Oh,
Remake of a what is it? DS game. Brilliant.
Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah,
Yeah, DS, I guess. Yeah. Was that before Black and White?
that was in 2021. The remake of the DS 2006 game. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So far, really cool. I'm liking
What's the starters for that?
the aesthetic.
What are the starter Pokemon?
The little fire monkey, the penguin,
Ah, yes. Okay.
and I don't know what the grass one is because I don't care about grass Pokemon. But I went with the Pengu, water Pengu guy.
What's the
sweet.
penguin's name? Pengu?
No, I named him Pengu. I don't know his actual name. But
Water Pengu guy.
I like this aesthetic way more. Like, why didn't they just do this open world for Violet? And like, it's just
I didn't even know what it looks
regular-
like. I haven't looked at it.
it just
Yeah,
looks
me
like
either.
regular Pokemon, but like Switch graphics.
Oh, it looks like Harvest Moon, kind of.
Yeah, but like little chibi characters running around.
Back to nature graphics.
Looks very
Yeah,
good, like colorful.
That's a good question. That's a good point. Like, why didn't they do that kind of style for Violet and Scarlet?
It doesn't
Is it
lag.
not-
Like it's running
Would it
perfectly
not
fine.
have been possible to just kind of make it more cartoony looking to reduce stress on the hardware?
It was a
and then
big
that,
world, though.
Yeah, the new
that was-
Pokemon was massive.
That's kind of, I guess, my question was it unavoidable? You think?
Yeah, but so far so good. I'm in like, what did I say? 4 hours in already. I just
Yeah,
take it
something
out
like
in
that.
the mornings. I take it out in the mornings. I play it outside with my coffee. Fantastic. Love it.
You're a backyard
Noise.
Yeah. Yeah. I remote play my PS5 from the backyard with my phone too. That's how I play
This
Diablo.
guy's got it all
sometimes.
figured out, folks.
I do, man. No matter where I go, I'm surrounded by
If
games.
you want to remote play anything from anywhere, let us know. And
They send him
we'll
up to
tell you how
space.
do it.
They're like, Nathaniel, your next challenge.
play from
NASA
Mars.
contacts
Yes,
him.
They send
please.
him into space with a bunch of monkeys
And he's just gaming
testing
from a
stuff on
fucking
him,
mobile.
and he's just like, just
I come
testing.
back. I come back to Earth. I have multiple monkey babies somehow.
Your DNA has been spliced.
Oh
with
my
monkeys.
god.
Oh god. Is that all you're playing?
Well, Diablo Season 1.
Oh yes, of course. I as well have been talking about that. We can talk a bit about the patch, and maybe in gaming news we'll throw that over and talk about the patch.
Well,
Or
I
we
have
can
notes
talk about
here.
it.
I have notes here.
Okay, let's talk about it now. So Diablo
Well,
Season 1 came out
yeah.
the 20th. Along with a bunch of nerfs. I had a video on it recently. Much outrage from the community. It was pretty bad. A lot of nerfs, a lot of reduction in stats. It was like I could barely survive what I was doing. I couldn't survive anymore what I was doing before, no problem. Like I just get obliterated now. I take so much damage. It's fucking crazy. It's a little better today. I think they released a hotfix patch today that released and reduced from 50 to 100. From Nightmare Tier 50 to 100, it reduced the stats of the enemies by a ton.
Oh, that's what
Damage.
they're doing.
Yeah,
Okay.
damage and health. So they made Tier 100 previously, Tier 70 previously is now equivalent to
200.
100.
Yep.
So that's
They
good.
want-
And then they they nerfed the XP,
Well, they put it back.
and then they put it back today with that
Yeah.
patch
Okay, sweet.
because of
Excellent.
everybody just went crazy. Like they completely ruined the game. And they heard the outrage at least, and they had a little campfire talk, they called it, and then they addressed everything and said what they were going to do, and they were not. It didn't look like they were happy.
Yeah.
No, what do you
And
mean?
they
They were
shouldn't
just
have
like-
been, right?
They were like
they were
depressed.
disappointed.
Yeah,
They're disappointed.
they were.
That
I feel
everyone
like
wasn't
they
happy
felt,
with their
Yeah.
Guilty. They felt really guilty, maybe.
Yes, I think that's the word to use. Yeah, they're like,
man, like imagine reading all these comments and all this outrage on YouTube and all this, especially now in this day and age with the amount of how vocal people are on the internet and the fucking bullying.
And you have content creators making videos.
Yeah,
Millions
of people
who are getting
those
millions of
videos.
views. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
and it will ultimately hurt your bottom line with all of those influencers and YouTubers just ripping your product. Like, you have to do something. They could not have just sat there and be like, that's the way we see it. So what? Then half the people playing that game would have stopped playing.
Oh yeah.
You know? Like they had to have done something. They had to do something. And you know what? I'm glad. And I think especially Blizzard, because of their track record for the last, I don't know how many fucking years, like.
Well, their live service games are the longest running games for a reason.
Yes, exactly. And they're listening to the community. They're doing what they need to do to keep this game from essentially like dying in the first 2 months. Right? Like they have a vision for their game and how they want people to progress in this game, but like, they can't just come out with a fucking hammer like that and smash it to bits. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, they reduced the effectiveness of all damage reduction and armor.
Yeah.
So you just take way more damage, which is crazy. And then they reduced the XP that you got by a ton. Back to maybe even similar to what it was before, like initially. Because initially it was horrible. Then they made it way better. And then with this one, they took it back again. And now I'm not sure to what level they took it back. Do you know what I mean? Like, did they take it back?
So, in your opinion, you and Nathaniel, was there any need for them to even make these changes in the first place? Did you guys find that they just overdid it? Like, you were like, yeah, it needs something, but then they overdid it? Or were you fine with the way the game was playing and the amount of defense that the armor had and all this shit? Like, how do you guys feel about the original game in its state on release?
It was fine. It was fine.
Okay.
But
like,
now
some of the classes needed to be balanced, and like some classes are better than others. But in terms of like the damage I take and the it was just the XP. It just took so long to get to 100. Like so long.
That didn't need to be touched. The balancing had to be done because what was coming in season 1, like all the hearts and the stats on the hearts and the aspects on the hearts, all that whole mechanic that was coming in, it was gonna shift some way, and they decided to just nerf everything. And then while these new stats come in with all these new aspects and new mechanics, they come in. I don't know if they were hoping that it would just like balance itself out. They didn't do the math properly. I don't know what that was, but there was no need to do the XP stuff. I don't think they needed to touch the XP stuff.
Me either.
And even they said in the next round, this is never going to happen again. They're going to release the patch notes like 4 or 5 days before they do any kind of massive changes. They're going to listen to the community and see if anything will need to be changed or looked at before the actual launch of the patch. So that is going to be really cool. But before, I don't think they need to touch the XP or the armor and all that kind of stuff. Maybe they could have taken down like the vulnerability and stuff, because all those numbers were just going to skyrocket even more so when the new patch or the new season came out. Like, if they didn't touch vulnerability, crit, all that stuff, then like all these hearts and the stats that come with these hearts, we're going to say zillions of points of damage.
That's what we want. Right? Ain't that what we want?
There's only so much screen room and numbers that you can read, right? So they were trying to probably squish that a bit, but they went a little bit overboard.
Well, I had to respec. I respec this morning. Just so I could. I needed to take less damage, so I spec'd into more crowd control, more armor, and life. I tried to find some affixes or some items with health and armor that I had maybe in my stash or whatever. It's a bit better. I did respec from Barrage to Twisting Blades. So the reason, because Twisting Blades dazes and knocks back enemies if you spec into it. And I did that, and I was able to do a tier 51 again. It was hard, but like because when I did take damage, it was fucking a lot. But I'm always like dazing them and knocking them over for a second and a half. So like I can run around in a huge group of mobs and it'll just knock everyone down. So it's better. It's more survivability for sure. It's unfortunate because I like my old build, but
I had to do that as well. I actually wiped my entire Paragon boards
oh god.
and redid my Paragon stuff. So my attack power eventually went down a little bit more than I did previously.
Did you have
But,
glyphs
like,
leveled already? For,
yeah,
like,
I've got shit. I've got a ton of.
yeah, that's what I did
15
too. I just
level
leveled like all my glyphs.
Yeah.
to
Then
15
any glyph
at
I
least.
have is going up. Like I just next. Okay, get it to 15. Next.
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
So now my board is fantastic. I was doing tier 53 after the patch. I'd die a couple times, but I'd get through it. Like it was sick.
With minions?
No minions.
How did you
No
not
minions.
get decimated?
A lot of
by
crowd
damage?
control. A lot of health. My health is quite a bit now.
Really?
So wasn't getting like one shot.
I think mine's
I was
like
actually
9,800 or something.
And then my corpse tendrils, when they bring in, they stun. So they'll pull everyone in, they'll stun. And then
Stun
I
helps,
will,
yeah.
stun. Like keeping them out of the fight.
Yeah, I guess I didn't have any of that before.
Yeah.
I only had slow. I had slow.
Yeah, you got to stun now.
Yeah, no
Stun or freeze. Getting them out of the fight, so your cooldown, since they took out cooldown reduction or they nerfed cooldown reduction, keeping them stunned so your skills can get back to 0 so you can use them again is how I kind of balance that out. So my blood mist, where I disappear and float around while taking no damage and explode corpses, the cooldown reduction was to get that so by the time I was out of blood mist, I'd hit it again by like half a second. And I would just be constantly in blood mist pretty much.
Really?
Oh, yeah. But now I'm like a second or two before I can hit it again because of all the nerfs. So I have to like stun them properly at a certain time so then I can
See,
get
people
back
don't-
into blood mist.
This is what we think about, people. This is the min-max. This is the way you min-max. You got to know everything about your character. You just have to know it. And you have to know what you need to do and what's bad, like what's causing you, like you said, the cooldown reduction nerf. Like you're standing around waiting. It's noticeable.
I can't have that.
You're
Because then you get one
around.
shot.
Yeah.
If I'm out of blood mist and I'm running around trying to get corpses and there's some big guy that's about to either do his like exploding move or that fucking rock that does the pound pound on the ground. If I'm not in blood mist, I'm one shot. So I need blood mist to be ready to go every time. Every time.
Nice.
Yep.
I'm actually pretty excited. I'm a little bit excited to try my new spec on my rogue. So I might do that today. I might play my rogue, not my main, my season mage.
I will also be playing. And I don't know, like I thought I'd hate it. It's not as bad after respecking as I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I don't do as much damage, but like I'm still kind of around where I was by like a level or two. So I did have to take the time, sit down and go through my entire build. Like, yeah, but
I want them to add more bosses of different varieties.
yeah, it's getting a bit slim.
Like the bosses are nothing in the
They added
Nightmare
one
dungeons. Do you know what I mean?
season.
It's getting to the boss and just doing the dungeon that matters. Like the boss of the dungeon is pretty insignificant right now. Like they're easier than doing the rest of the dungeon. They're super fucking easy. There's not really that much mechanics, and then they repeat in other dungeons. Like you see the same bosses in like what?
Did you hear how many bosses they added? How many bosses were
Did they add bosses?
added in season 1? I think so. I think they added 2. 1 world boss and 1 dungeon boss.
One dungeon boss. There's like fucking 128 dungeons.
28 bosses in total in Diablo 4.
28 bosses through 128 dungeons, I think there is.
There's a new boss in Diablo 4 called Varshan the Consumed. So there's one
That's not enough.
one season boss,
It's just not enough. I
and
need
then
more.
I think he becomes a world boss. Some of that.
Well, they're probably going to focus on friggin' fixing all this bullshit first before they even start implementing,
With all, yeah.
like new bosses and varying challenges and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
imagine.
But I mean, they gotta do it eventually. That's what I just eventually want to see. What about the bosses from the campaign? They kind of alluded to the fact that they
Yes.
had some campaign bosses coming,
Yeah. They didn't say anything.
but they said they couldn't say anything. Yeah, but anyway,
Yep.
let's see what happens with that. I'll play some more today. Check it out.
I'm still loving it. I'm still loving the game, even though
Yeah, it's just
It's love-hate,
addicting.
I
It's
guess.
just an addicting thing to go in and smack a bunch of enemies and see numbers.
see numbers. Yeah.
I have been playing, picked up, I don't know whose idea this was. I think it was Rod's. He listens to this show. We started playing PGA Tour 2K23.
I saw him on there. I was like, golf?
Yeah, golf. Okay, but it's cross-platform.
Wow.
We're all playing at the same time. We can play a 4-player round of golf and like go against each other and stuff, or have teams. It's actually pretty fun when you have 4 players. You can customize the settings of the course and all that stuff.
I could see that.
It's very cool. It's pretty cool.
Is it VR? Can I jump in on PSVR 2?
I don't know. Is there a VR golf game? That would be cool. Tracks your swing.
That'd be sick.
They could
That'd be
actually
fucking
probably
awesome.
do that.
There's a VR mini putt. That's it right now. I think.
It's coming. I'm sure it's coming. But yeah, other than that, I've been playing Diablo and some Rocket League. But we also play Rocket League. We play 4 of us. We do 2 versus 2, and we do a series of 7. And there is so much shit talking, and like it gets heated. These 2v2 settings, these series. But we're not even that good. Like we're not good at the game. So it's just like
I've watched my buddies play it. It looks pretty fun. I've never really bothered to download it though.
It's
I like
hard.
seeing that ball flying everywhere.
Oh, I bought this PSVR 2 game where you're a bartender in space.
Oh.
Like you're a bartender in these
That sounds familiar.
in like a space station.
Yeah, what's that called?
It's so cool. It was so
Really?
fun.
Is that like that
Yeah.
cafe game where you have to like
Coffee
talk
talk.
to people, coffee talk, and like you have to get people's
Star
stories?
tenders? That's what it's called. I'm a star tender. Okay, the tutorial was very long. The tutorial was very long, but I got through the tutorial, and they throw you into this little space station, and you're serving drinks. The colors are so cool. Like filling the drinks and mixing the drinks, the colors on the drink. Oh man, it's very cool.
What kind of
I went
graphic
to-
style is it? Is it like that 16-bit type thing or
No. It's like
oh?
I'd say it's more like High on Life kind of style.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like not realistic, but it's not super cartoony. It's like in the middle. But like
Yeah.
you get
Thought I heard
points. So
about that
someone
one.
comes up to your bar, and to tell them you're ready for the order, you give them a thumbs up. Like you give them a thumbs up, and then they'll tell you your order, and their order will come up, and they'll have a patience meter.
That's like Overcooked.
Yeah.
Like you have to put the burger together and get it out, get the order
Yeah.
out.
Okay. Yeah. But this is like you're making the drink, so
Yeah.
you can buy supplies for your little bar because it's like your bar. So you
space.
can, you gotta watch your stock.
Oh, like the business side of it.
Yeah, and then you've got like your bottles of space alcohol. I guess it is very colorful, very cool looking.
Space booze.
And you can like
Space
toss the
booze.
bottle, spin the bottle, and then
Nice.
open it up. And the more you spin and do flashy work, the longer their like patience meter goes up. So you can take longer to make their drink. So if I'm like flipping bottles,
because they're
flipping
like
bottles.
entertained by you. So
Yeah,
they're
and
like,
I'm spinning their glass, and I'm like filling up. I pour the drink like super high up, and they're like, "Ooh, cool!"
their faces are doing that. Are they
Yeah.
like reacting?
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, cool." And then I'm like, "Yeah." And then it's like I freeze their
AI.
drink because they want it on ice, so I put it in the little ice freezer. It comes out. Oh man, it's really cool.
that is cool. I want to try this. I wanna
You're
try
like
this
Nick
game.
Miller in New Girl in space.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. And then I'm like, toss it up, and my bottle smashes somewhere. I'm like, oh, grab another bottle. Smash all this shit all over
their
the floor.
faces were like, oh,
I didn't see the meter go down if I smash a bottle. So I don't know.
It'd be
Maybe
funny if
later
their
on.
faces got really mean like Oblivion NPCs when you drop their drop bottles and shit.
Oh my god.
It's very fun. Very fun.
Interesting.
I tried to make a video, but because when I'm recording on the webcam, the game makes me turn sideways to the bar, and I can't make the bar I can't reset the orientation of the PSVR 2. So every time I go into the bar, I have to turn left and work at the bar. So like the webcam sees my fat gut, and I don't like it.
I don't like myself.
I don't like this. It's degrading. Okay.
Wow.
Dan, what are you playing there, Dandalf? Is your internet allowing you to even play anything? Freaking piece of
I actually haven't been online gaming much. Jason Jagster's away. He's traveling for work. Get this little story time. So, he's been on Xbox One for God knows how long, since they've been out. This guy's been playing Xbox One. He's tried to play Cyberpunk, and his car would like drive in the road.
like vanilla
type
Xbox One?
Yeah.
OG.
Wow.
Yes. And he'd like have spawning issues and terrible bugs playing Cyberpunk and shit. And he's just like, I don't know if this game is for me. And I'm like, it is. It's just what you're playing it on. So there was that, but he's also playing Sea of Thieves, and his graphics. Sea of Thieves is a beautiful game, so he's not getting that full experience. Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So, and he takes forever to load in. When we're waiting,
God.
like we're in PvP.
Is this the guy with Farming Simulator?
Yeah, Jason.
Okay, so that's probably why you were
Well, it could have
lagging
been why.
like
Yeah,
crazy.
it could also have been why. But he was also remote playing that, and then invited me onto that session though. So
Yeah,
anyway.
but the network card in the OG Xbox
Yeah,
ones are
fucking
ass.
horrible.
They're shit.
Well, when he dies and we're playing Sea of Thieves, he'll like take forever to spawn in, and we need him. We're like, Jagster. He's like, okay, hang on, I'm still spawning. We're like, oh my god, oh. So
That is so dumb.
anyway, long story short, our other buddy Matt Briscoe, not Thrillhouse, he came into some money on a bet because he does some bets, sports bets and stuff like that. And
wow.
he was like,
Wow.
okay, I'm going to buy him a Series X. And he
Are you
said,
fucking
Wow.
shitting me right now?
yeah, he sent me a
It
message,
must have been
asked
a
for his address.
Good bet. Must have been some juicy
Yeah.
fucking
Wow,
cheddar.
juicy
Yeah,
return.
so I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I didn't ask how much. That's none of my business. But I thought it was a great story for the show. So he ended up asking me what Jason's new address was, and I was like, okay, I'll find out and I'll let you know. And he sends it to him, orders it, sends it to him, and then Jason's like, yeah, I'm going out of town. I'm going out of town now tomorrow. Leaves on a plane or whatever, and it's supposed to arrive the day after he leaves. And we're like, and we're like,
You'll have to go get it. Go pick
well,
it
that's the
off
thing.
his
We were like,
doorstep.
so Matt's like messages me. He's like, fuck, I don't know what to do now. And I was like, okay. I was like, hang on, relax. Let's just figure it out. So we ended up just having to tell Jason that Briscoe had sent him something in the mail that's pretty important, and he should be around to make arrangements for it before you leave. So anyway, it ended up coming a day early while Jason was home. So he got his Xbox, and he was thrilled.
Shit himself. Wow.
And he can't wait to get back and start playing some Sea of Thieves. So I haven't been playing because usually I play with him a lot of the time.
Wow.
And he's away right now, so he can't. But when he gets back after like the 26th, he'll be on probably tons in super high def. I don't know what about his TV
A
situation.
Series
but that's-
X too. Like
Yeah, you got to.
He could've got him a Series S.
Now, yeah, you could have got. Now he's got to get an OLED now. Okay,
That's what I said.
because he
I said,
doesn't have
"That's
to
next."
spend $600 on a Series X.
Wow.
But, get
well,
like the.
Congratulations. That's very nice.
That's
That's
really
Brothers
cool.
in
It's
gaming.
Very, very good gesture. Very nice gesture. Very generous. So that's exciting. So I haven't been playing Sea of Thieves, but I also have just been playing Story of Seasons. This game has won my heart, just like all the old good Harvest Moon games. I've officially reached year 2, and I am now married with child.
That's fast.
The only life wherein I see that happen.
Congratulations.
Yeah. That's fast already. Like year 2.
Well,
I remember in original Harvest Moon, you weren't married until like World 3. Year 3.
Yeah, I don't recall how long it took me to get married. Can you become
Well,
a
actually,
regional paper salesman in that game?
I don't think so. Second Life.
Second Life.
I
can
don't
fly.
remember how the original game went, to be honest, because it's been years since I played it. So I don't know if you get married first and then the year after that she becomes pregnant or something, and I don't remember. But this game, it kind of gets you playing it. It might have just been an aim to streamline things, but anyway, it's really nice. Once you hit second year, things start changing, and you start to feel the game change a little bit. And obviously, you can choose whether you have a boy or a girl, or you can alternate, or alternatively, the other choice is you can just say either, and then the game will decide for you, type of thing. So Molly and I had a girl whom I named Marnie because of the Studio Ghibli movie that I love.
Bonnie.
Marnie. Marnie. But man, it's wild because this game, I think, went really in depth with the whole family system. I think it's the most advanced that they've had yet in any Harvest Moon or Story of Seasons game, as far as I know.
Nice.
Because through each year, the child grows older and older. So, like, first year they'll be a
Until
toddler.
how
Second
old?
year they're a kid. Well, they grow into adulthood. And
really?
Yeah, so they can be influenced as a toddler to enjoy certain activities such as farming, ranching, athletics, music, etc., which will decide the child's eventual career once they reach adulthood, and maybe year 3 or year 4 or something, whatever it is, right? Because time passes between
Takes
years.
4 years.
I don't think
He's
they call
4
it
years old.
years. That's actually why. I don't think they call it years. It's like chapters of the game. So the second chapter is called like branching. The first year is called something else. It's not like
I
year.
see.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
I think, because it doesn't say anywhere on your save file anything about a year. I just call it year
That's
2
cool.
because like that's what we're used to as Harvest Moon players.
To.
So yeah, like I bought the child's ball from the traveling merchant, and your child will have like cutscenes with whatever toys you buy them, which I think is what increases their interest meter for that associated activity. So I realized after the fact that the ball may be encouraging athletics, which is what my child is predisposed to, according to who I married, I think. And I was like, don't like that. So I may have to take the ball away and see if it doesn't increase that activity.
Why don't you want that? Like, what's your problem?
Because I wanted to do I wanted to do the ranching, like the animals, tend to the animals, because like I put all this work into the farm. Somebody got to take it over.
Yeah, someone's got to help you out.
Yeah. So
he's just a parent controlling his kid. It's like, no, you don't want to be. It's like, you'll never make it anywhere. You got to help me on the farm.
Exactly.
Now
Does that
milk that
sound like
cow.
someone to you guys?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to
Stop playing
encourage
video
my
games.
girl to be a rancher and love the animals, but according to some articles, you can like influence them by interacting with them in certain situations and environments and showing them tools. So I've been showing her the milker, the brush, and the clipper for ranching, for the attending to the animals. And I think her ranching interest is going up. I don't know for sure. I have to find out. But I introduced her. I held her up to my cow in her face, and she was like, "No!" So I don't know what that was about.
She
But
doesn't like the cow.
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe not yet. But alternatively, like if you want her to be interested in music, you would take her to Gustafa's hut, who's like the hippie. He's like John Lennon of the game.
Gestapo?
Wouldn't want my daughter
Mustafa.
around that freak.
Yeah, or the villa where Lumina, the rich girl, plays piano. She's a rich
yes.
girl.
And you go too far, but you're never gonna get it anyway.
Yeah. So her music interest would go up. Her music interest would go up, I think, if you brought her around those environments. But
She loves
anyway,
Hall and Oates.
I'm out of touch. I'm out of time. Yeah, so I'm noticing also village characters get older too, and new ones are introduced, which is kind of
nice.
cool. Like there's a little kid
Really?
in the
Jeez,
first
like,
chapter, and now
The
in the
Sims.
second chapter, he's like he's taller and he's like a kid, you know. So that's kind of cool because I don't remember that ever happening. So I'm starting to see how it's different than what I remember the previous game being, and it's cool because each chapter is bringing something new, and there always will be things to look forward to. I ordered like a sheep. I got more animals for my daughter to tend to. depending on if that works out. I don't know. It's all an experiment right now. But man, I'm loving it. I think I sowed both my fields full of potatoes in the summer season, and it was like 14,000 gold. And now I've got like tons of watermelons in both fields. I just sow everything, both fields, always full all at once, and I'm making sure my stupid watering can is as upgraded as it can be. Like, you don't upgrade it, you find the item at the merchant's place, or at the merchant. He carries them into town with every new year. There's bronze or copper, and then silver or whatever. Because like it just takes so long to water your crops, especially if you're doing it twice a day, which you should be. So yeah.
Ugh.
But man, it's fun. I love it.
Okay, well,
I'm loving it.
I want to play it, but I don't want to buy it.
You should.
That's cool. Let's get into our main topic. Today's topic here. I think it's finally time. So today we're going to talk about enemy AI in games, or NPC AI. That stands for artificial intelligence, Nathaniel. And we're going to talk about some we remember as being horrible, or if we remember any as being really good. We did some research, okay? We did some research for you folks, for the listener, you dear listener. I'm going to touch a bit on how it works and what makes enemy AI good. Now, how do we define AI? Okay. According to gamedev.net and Wikipedia, game AI is mostly focused on which actions an entity should take based on current conditions. That's all it is, right?
That makes sense to me.
Now, in artificial intelligence, an intelligent agent is an agent acting in an intelligent manner. It perceives its environment. It takes actions autonomously in order to achieve goals. This may improve its performance with learning or acquiring knowledge. That's what they said here. So in each case, it's a thing that needs to observe its surrounding, what's happening in the game, make decisions based on that, and then act on those decisions.
Correct.
Sounds simple enough, I suppose.
And that's just how it works. So that's called the sense, think, act cycle. So this is where the devs can like decide how in depth they want to go with the enemy AI. There's sense, think, and act.
What type of AI gaming technique is that?
I don't know.
There's rule-based. Yeah, so there's a few.
Rule-based, yeah. Makes sense.
There's rule-based AI, which is predefined rules and conditions to determine NPC behavior.
Mm-hmm. Right.
There's finite state machines, model NPC behaviors with predefined patterns.
Is there a planning-based one?
There's pathfinding AI, which determined the optimal path for NPCs to navigate through a game environment.
Okay.
There's machine learning AI, which is adapting the behavior and decision-making based on past experience, training, and exposure to data.
That's cool.
There's a couple more, which is behavioral trees, which offers flexibility and allows for complex AI behaviors that can adapt to changing conditions. And the last one is called reinforcement learning, which receives feedback in the form of penalties and rewards based on the player's actions and adjusts their behavior to maximize rewards. So right now,
crazy.
those are the types of techniques that are being implemented in games. Some of them are like one or two of them. Some of them are just one. Some are like a handful. Yeah, it depends on the game. Yeah, and what they want the AI to like do, or how they want the AI to react, I guess.
So what was the first one?
Rule-based AI.
Rule-based. So that's what I was this is what I imagine was like the original one, like from the first games, like the first, like Pong.
Yeah, like if this,
like
then
you talk
that
about Pong.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
If the ball is, going that way, then move left. That's what the AI will do.
Yeah.
It's just sense, think, and act. That's what I was talking about. In many cases, I would say, and when I was reading, they don't want to make it realistic. They don't want to make AI like enemies realistic, because seeming realistic could just be reacting to environment variables, right? That's what seems like it seems real. Oh, I'm doing this, so and it's reacting to it, so it's like engaging as a real thing. But because it does that, it seems like the AI is smart and reacting to things, and that's what I think people just like, and it engages them, even though it's not that hard to program, even based on.
Oh, I see. Like
you know
the
what I mean?
reaction kind of.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, that's cool. He does that, even though
Yeah.
it's very simple. It's not really. It seems realistic, but it's pretty simple. But they actually dial it back sometimes. Like if it was too realistic, it wouldn't be predictable, and that's what people like in games, right? That's what makes a good game. In 2004, Halo Tech lead Chris Butcher said, I think this was on How Things Work or How It Works.
Billy Butcher.
Good AI is predictable. The goal is not to create something that is unpredictable, he said. What you want is an AI that is consistent so that the player can give it certain inputs, the player can do things, and expect the AI will react in a certain way.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on that? That's like, to me, is like, it gives you the feeling of conquering the game, right? Of mastering the game.
But
Of being in
this
control as the player.
Yeah. But I also want, like with that, I wanted to give him, say, I want you to get on top of that hill and cover me with fire, right? Let's say I give him that command. The way he gets to that hill and how he encounters enemies on the way to that top of that hill, right? He has to learn how to get to that hill. I can't
I guess,
drag him up that hill and put him there, right?
Yeah, so that would be a different. What would you call?
Yeah,
that?
like he could take a hog. He could take a warthog up to the top of the hill. He could run to the top of the hill, right? He could jetpack.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. No, I know what I mean. I know what you mean. I'm just saying in terms of enemies, so enemy AI. But yeah, for that kind of thing, it's like, what would you call that on your little classification list there? What were those called again?
Pathfinding AI, maybe. Determine the optimal path for NPCs to navigate through a game environment.
There you go.
I guess that makes sense.
There you go. So you would implement that. But like if the AI was super hard in terms of enemies, if it was super hard and impossible to predict, like I was saying, like any success you'd have, I don't know if I would feel as good about it. I'd just be like, well, I got lucky there, rather than my own skill, my own skill that made me succeed.
Yeah.
But with predictability, you can create a plan to do something and like carry it out. It's just more satisfying, I think, to you as the player. And maybe it makes you feel more like you conquered the game, like I said.
That is hard to say. I don't know how I feel about it. I love the idea of the unpredictability because I love realism and immersion. On the other hand, I don't like it when a game makes me feel really stupid and I cannot conquer it and I cannot like achieve anything in it. I hate that. So I think it would have to be a balance for me.
Well,
most games make me feel that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what a balance would be, but I just feel like it would be cool if I was thrown curveballs from AI every now and then, and then but there's some element of okay, so I've seen them do that before, and he may the chances of that AI enemy doing this are such and such a percentage. I've seen it before, maybe 1 out of 3 times. They'll do that. I don't know. Plus a little bit of curveball. I would love a balance because I love the unpredictability idea. It keeps you on your toes, but it would be very challenging, I feel like. So I don't know. It depends on the game, probably.
Yeah. Like take, for instance, the AI in Age of Empires, okay? Age of Empires 2. They just cheat, right? So what makes the AI hard in Age of Empires is they're either at 1.2 times speed versus your regular speed, right? So they're faster than you. They stick to like a certain build and they execute that build like perfectly. There's
no downtime.
There's no downtime between their clicks or their mouse movements,
like they're
shit like
instantly
that.
doing everything, and they can control all of the things at the same time.
Exactly. So like it's cheating.
Yeah.
The AI it's bullshit. Those AIs, I fucking hate those AIs. So
In RTS games?
in RTS games, right? Like if you put the
so
AI on a level playing field with the character, you give them the same resources, the same amount of resources. You give them
You'd crush them, though, every time.
until we have this AI with one of these like reinforcement learning or what is it? Machine learning. So I'm going to bring you into the future here. So there was a game.
The future.
Where is it? Oh, Forza, the new Forza Motorsports. Okay. So remember how the old Forza, when it came out on Xbox One, they were using like drive-atar systems where they would take your friends and plop them in your game, and it'd be like your friend's driving style, right?
Oh, was it?
So yeah, so that's what they would do, and then you would be like essentially racing against your idiot friends, like not your friends at their level, but like a really dumbed down, stupid version. But now for the new Forza Motorsport, this is going to be fucking sick. Listen to this. The Forza Motorsport coming out this year will be using their latest AI model and physics engine for the tires and for the drive-atar system. There are two components in play, the AI controller and the driving line. The AI controller is how the game uses throttle, brake, and steering inputs to move the car around the track. The driving line is the path that the AI controller follows. In Forza Motorsport, they will have evolved the drive-atar system to use machine learning, like I said before, is one of the techniques. Okay, it's going to machine learn. The computer drives each track 26,000 times and learns to achieve the fastest line through every layout. It no longer replicates the driving behavior of your friends. It still pulls in their cars and drivers and their customizations, but it will drive the track, like drive the track X amount of times and then put you against this AI. And the AI will learn the track like a human learns the track. It's not pre-coded into them. It's not this. They'll put the AI in.
Oh, okay.
It'll drive the
I see
track.
what you
It'll
mean.
learn the track.
So like, there's a left turn coming up. The AI doesn't know that
exactly
on the first time around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then so the AI will have mistakes because
like a real
it's
driver.
learning like a
Makes
real
sense.
driver, right? Yeah. So I think the level of the AI that they're going to be putting is how many times the AI is exposed to these tracks.
Yeah, that makes
You know what I
sense. Actually,
Yeah. So like a human player will drive that track X amount of times and learn it, right?
yeah.
So like a pro player would have definitely spent X amount of hours and have driven that track whatever how many times, right? So they'll try to like make
That's
that
gonna be
AI.
hard. I think it's gonna be very hard.
It's gonna be pretty
'Cause,
cool.
Like,
I think that's gonna be pretty cool.
just in terms of a person doing that. Okay, think about that. When I was talking about the AI in the game. He knows there's going to be a left-hand turn up here, and then he knows after that there's going to be a right-hand turn, and he knows when to brake exactly. But that's based probably on pre-coded information that the developers put in there.
Yes.
As base knowledge for the AI. Whereas the AI doesn't start with that now, so it has to drive the track and figure that all out for itself like a human would, which is actually crazy.
Yeah.
But once they do learn it, it'll just be automatic. You know what I mean? So it will be super fucking hard at the higher.
Eventually, at the highest level, yeah.
Yeah. Like they'll just know. Are they going to make mistakes? I doubt it. Because they just know now. Once they've learned it, they know to brake at 300 meters before.
Probably, yeah.
Before,
But
the
again,
hairpin.
like, now I didn't get into like, what if you smash him, right? Or what if you hit him, or you pit hit him? What's it called? The
pit maneuver.
pit maneuver, whatever. If you smack him, like, does he get enraged? Does he keep it calm?
Oh yeah.
Does that keeping it calm get him back into track and get him on like the AI driving
Maybe
track?
they had a stat that says
Yeah.
he's agitated, like
Agitated.
reduce a little bit of.
Yeah, man. Like that would be fucking sweet. You just fucking piss him off and he gets rattled and
Yeah.
then he can't finish the race because he's so fucking pissed off. That'd be sweet.
He starts driving aggressive. Wearing out his tires. That would be cool. I want to race now.
Yeah. My little segment is called Advanced AI. Are you done, Jonathan?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to go into my segment called Advanced AI. And to start with this, we're going to go into not what AI is, but how advanced AI can get. So has everyone heard of the Turing Test?
Alan Turing?
Yes.
Okay, so for whoever hasn't, listeners, if you haven't heard it, the Turing Test is a method of inquiry in artificial intelligence for determining whether or not a computer is capable of thinking like a human being. The test is named after Alan Turing, the founder of the Turing Test and an English computer scientist, cryptanalyst, mathematician, and theoretical biologist. I didn't know that he was a biologist. I didn't know that.
What's theoretical biology?
Thinking about biology, not actually doing it.
Just sitting around thinking.
Thinking about biology.
Turing proposed that a computer can be said to possess artificial intelligence. I'm just going to say AI. If it can mimic human responses under specific conditions. The original Turing test required 3 terminals, each of which is physically separated from the other 2. So like completely separate rooms, right?
Okay. Closed
Okay.
off? Isolated?
Closed off,
Air
isolated. Yes.
Air gapped.
Okay. One terminal is operated by a computer, while the other 2 are operated by humans. Okay. During the test, one of the humans functions as a questioner, while the second human and the computer function as respondents.
Okay.
The questioner, interrogates the respondents with specific subject matter using a specified format and context. After a preset length of time or a number of questions, the questioner is then asked to decide which respondent was human and which was computer.
Oh.
The test is repeated many times. If the questioner makes the correct determination in half of the test runs or less, the computer is considered to have AI because the questioner regards it as just as a human would, quote unquote, as a human respondent. So, like, he would have to distinguish after all this time is like, okay, so which respondent
Is it per question or like afterwards?
afterwards? So it says,
so he like
the test
reads-
the test is repeated many times.
Yeah.
If the questioner makes the correct determination in half the test, also after each test, he'll say that was a computer, and then the next test will be like that was the human, yada yada yada. So if in half of the test runs or less, the computer is considered to have AI because the questioner regards it as quote unquote just another human, quote unquote.
That is cool.
Now-
You know what that reminds me of? Just before you continue,
What is it?
I get Blade Runner vibes when they do the replicant
Yeah,
tests.
well, that's what
Exactly,
It was.
yep.
Is that where they got that from? I guess.
Yes. Yep.
Must've been.
Yeah,
believe so,
that's
yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
The replicants.
Now, with that in our brains, okay, and we're thinking about AI in video games and AI NPCs and stuff like that, there's a few examples of advanced AI in some video games. So, Jonathan played the Middle Earth games, developed by Monolith, created the acclaimed
yeah.
Nemesis
Shadow
AI
games?
system,
Shadow of
Yeah.
Mordor.
which lets enemies remember their fights with the player, creating blood feuds
Yeah.
that flare up throughout the adventure.
Those were
Those
very
are good.
funny.
Yes.
So
I love
that's
it. Oh, it's
that's
such
an
a good-
example.
Did you ever play that?
I never played it.
Oh, dude, you gotta play it. You gotta play.
Is it getting too old now? Does it look like
No,
shit?
it would be sick. It would be fucking
Okay.
great.
Um,
Like you would love it. It's the same kind of combat as God of War, Spider-Man. Like it's the exact same. Like the combat is the same.
it's not overcomplicated combat.
No, it's the same thing as
No,
God
you
of
just
War,
got to be
Spider-Man.
careful. You got to be careful.
You got the
That's-
dodge. You got to dodge at the right time, and you do you do a counter move. It's
Okay.
like it's the same friggin' thing.
It's free everywhere all the time.
It's so good. And then the
always free.
second one is the orcs, like the enemy dudes, are so funny. They're sick.
I didn't play the second. I just played the first, so I know about
Oh,
that.
really?
But
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I didn't
Some
get
of
around
those
to watching.
orcs, and then the guy Kumail Nanjiani does a voice for
Oh,
one
yeah.
of the,
Which
for
one's
one of
he
the
again?
orcs. It is so funny. It is so fucking funny.
From Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Dinesh from Silicon Valley. Man, it's great. Like, cause they'll walk up, you see them on the map, and there's like, oh, there's an elite dude here, and like as soon as you get into a certain range of him or whatever, it like
Like
zooms
zoom
in on him,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, and they do like an intro thing, and like some of them are so dumb, and it's like, and they have all these stupid names. It's very entertaining and very funny. But the one guy that he does is really, really good. He's got a lot of hilarious voice lines, and you see him like multiple times. It's funny.
I remember one named Ratbag who was a big pain in my ass in the first one.
Ratbag?
Yeah. His name was Ratbag.
What is the name of the guy Kumail does? The Agonizer was his name, I think. And it's like, they call you Tark. Like, do you remember that? Like, that's what they call like humans. Tark.
Don't remember.
And he's like, there's this one. I think he's like, he asks you. He's like, now what sounds scarier? He's like talking to you. He's like, and then he says something, and then he says something. He's like, what's scarier to a Tark? No offense, but like he's like super like, oh,
Yeah.
What sounds better? Feel your life fade, or drown in your blood. To a Tark, no offense.
Of course, he's very him. Like,
yeah,
actor.
it is hilarious. You guys have to play this. You have to play it. Anyway,
So to continue on with advanced AI, in May, as part of an otherwise unremarkable corporate strategy meeting, Sony CEO Kenshiro Yoshida made an interesting announcement. The company's artificial intelligence research division, Sony AI, would be collaborating with PlayStation developers to create intelligent computer-controlled characters.
yo, that's sick. You know, that's such a huge fucking like flex. It's like, yeah, we have a whole AI division.
Department, yeah, like a division.
A
like,
fucking
what's in their
division
cars,
for
like,
AI.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we'll deploy it to our video game to help our video games.
They're going to where was I? So developers create an AI computer-controlled characters by leveraging reinforcement learning, he wrote. We are developing game AI agents that can be a player's in-game opponent or collaboration partner. Reinforcement learning is an area of machine learning, like what I said earlier, in which an AI effectively teaches itself how to act through trial and error. In short, these characters will mimic human players to some extent. They will think. That was from theguardian.com with a little article on their video game artificial intelligence AI is evolving.
Man.
Now,
that kind
imagine
of tech, that kind of tech in like if Sony were to make a COD replacement,
Exactly.
would be fucking sweet. In
Like-
the AI.
Like if you're trying to bust into this place, and save some hostages, like the AI is going to learn. The AI is they've probably thrown that AI through, I don't know, X amount of hostage situations where they've won or lost, yada yada, and they'll learn based on those experiments or experiences, right? That's fucking insane. That is insane. So in the future, this kind of gaming AI or simulation AI would be really sick in like what I was saying, like military shooters or strategy games. Like imagine an RTS AI opponent that was actually on the same playing field as you without getting the cheats.
Yeah.
Okay, without getting the cheats, without getting the speeds, hacks, all that shit.
Just playing like against another person.
Another human, right? And they have to learn what you're doing, either by scouting you properly, learning what you're building, how to counter that building like properly, not because he's like, oh, I've got 10,000 gold, right? I can plop down that building instantly to...
Yeah, instant building and shit.
Yeah,
like
that kind of shit,
stupid.
right? But like, imagine an AI will have to, he's like doing a certain build, and then he goes to scout you, sees that you're doing this, or you haven't gotten to this point yet, and then he's like, oh, I'm going to use this kind of strategy to get to him. And then you have to learn against that, and then he has to learn against that. That is where I want it to go. That is fucking sick.
Yeah.
That
I think
is very
that's
cool.
the ultimate end goal. It's like, that's why they created it in the first place, was to take the place of a human, right? So obviously, that's the end game, is to make it act more human.
What would be really cool is at the end, okay, you could probably go into the matchmaking. I say either AI or human in the matchmaking settings. And at the end of the match, you can guess.
Yeah, like a Turing test.
Like a
in the
Turing
game.
test at the end of the match. It's like, that was a human. Wrong. Like, oh,
Wow,
that
would
is
be cool.
sick. That would be cool. And
You'd
then,
you would feel horrible after losing.
oh yeah, you would feel completely terrible. And then it would do like thousands of matches, right, with all these people, and then it'll tell you if the Turing test, right, will tell you if these AI are like thinking properly, like after X amount of matches, right?
But
That
in
would be
shooting
so
games,
sick.
I don't like AI. I feel they always cheat because they're just fucking head beaming you in the head, like they're aimbotting. It's literally aimbotting. That's what was happening in Apex when I was playing on Switch. Like I'm so slow and it's so bad, but they're just beaming you right away as soon as they see you, and so it's like losing to bots, like often, just because the Switch wasn't fast enough for me to react. And the bots just shredding me because they shoot me instantly.
But can't they like?
They're
no
not playing
human,
on a 20 FPS Switch. You know what I mean?
No human is going to hit. I'm just going to say, well, maybe not. I hope not. Like 100% of the time, headshots, right? So they're going to tell the AI, like, here's you're going to hit headshots like 60%, 70% of the time.
That's pretty good. That's
Right?
very high. It's
Exactly.
probably like 30.
Okay. Well, you would take, I don't know. They'd
But
have
it
to
can
learn
learn
their matches.
from- yeah. Yeah.
That is so cool. Daniel, what do you think?
Honestly, the coolest thing is, listen, based on all of this, I just am looking forward to the future of AI in games, man. That's just all I can say, because there's a lot they can freaking do, and there's a lot, and what they can do can just insanely affect our experiences going forward. And I just don't know. I don't know what that looks like yet, because right now we're all so used to the same kind of AI. Like, we've seen some really cool stuff, but
And some shitty stuff.
and some shitty stuff for sure, which I will get into. But we're just seeing a lot of the same kind of stuff, like a lot of it's enemy AI and you know how they respond in situations and you know, it's all pretty much cookie cutter and nothing too crazy. So I'm just looking forward to seeing what kind of new models they're going to be implementing as it. And I was thinking about that as I was writing my notes. I was like, man, like there's so much AI happening right now, and developers aren't. Are developers harnessing it the way it is now, and like what games are being made with this new crazy kind of coding they can be doing and autonomous thinking. You know, I don't know. I'm just really looking forward to seeing these things actually, what's the word, being implemented and being used, and at our fingertips in the games that we play.
Cool. I'm going to end here with a few AI models that competed against real human pro players. Okay, so the most famous, I think everyone knows, is the IBM made device dubbed Deep Blue,
For chess?
which defeated the reigning champion at the time, Garry Kasparov, in an unusually swift chess game. Now, I'm no chess player, and I know
Did
zero
you
about
say chest
chess.
or chess?
Chess.
A chest game.
Chess game. Chess game. The sixth and final game, so they play 6 games. The sixth and final game lasted only 19 moves, while an average game takes around 40 to complete. In the 1997 match, Kasparov had won the first game, lost the second, and drawn 3 subsequent
I've heard about
games.
this. I've heard about this.
Subsequent.
A billion,
Sleepy Joe.
trillion, 300 trillion billion.
Am I pronouncing this Kawawa?
At some points during
Kawawa.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
At some points during the game, Deep Blue was analyzing more than 100 million chess positions a second.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
He was very upset when he got defeated by the AI.
Needless to say.
So what was happening was there was a programmer, right? So there's an AI, and then he would play the match, right? And then the programmer would put in what Kasparov did on the board, and the AI would do its crunching and tell the developer where to move their piece.
Okay.
That's how it was. And then he was pretty distraught after losing. That was 1997. Okay.
Yeah, I heard about that just recently. I don't remember. I think Matt Maxim was talking about that in our group chat.
So
You know, what's funny? That reminds me of they should get these savants on like the streets, these homeless chess players that Michael Richards Kramer was talking to Jerry about in Comedians in Cars, and how these guys are like unbeatable and like the chess champions of the world go and they
that's right,
battle
yeah.
these guys on the streets to practice when they're in whatever city, right? And they can move
that's
in
so
like
insane.
they can win in like a matter of moves. And Michael tried playing one guy because he's a big chess player, and he's like, "I beat you 2 moves. You lose twice. You're gone. I don't play you again." So he loses, and he just wouldn't play him because he lost, and he beat him like lickety split.
Wow.
And I just wonder what kind of
That's crazy.
odds these savants have against AI. That would be interesting.
It's insane. In Google's 2015 AI, called AlphaGo for CSGO, was the first AI agent to beat a professional CSGO player. The deep learning model consisted of a policy network to predict the probabilities of potential moves by opponents,
Wow.
and a value network to predict the win chance of a given state. So, like where he is on the map, where like the ammo, if Buddy's coming from this angle, yada yada yada, right? The deep learning model allows the agent to explore potential game states more efficiently. The network were initially trained on games of human players, and then were further trained by games against themselves. So like they showed this AI like thousands of pro games, and then they would play against each other, and then they were pitted up against a pro player. Yeah. And then my last little story is OpenAI 5 AI model
Right.
was a Dota 2 AI model, I believe, and utilized the long short-term memory AI model, or AI gaming, what's it called? Technique. So it used this technique to learn all the heroes. Okay, it trained on a system containing 256 GPUs and 128,000 CPU cores. 5 AI, so the AI model, 5 AI trained for months, accumulating 180 years of game experience each day before facing off with the professional players.
In
So
Dota
that's
2.
almost as much as you,
In Dota
Nathaniel.
2.
A team of AI of those guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was eventually able to beat the 2018 Dota 2 Esports Championship team in a 2019 series of games. So they did a year, I guess, of training this AI and put it up against the champions of the year before.
Wow.
That's
Insane.
ridiculous.
Insane.
That's fucking ridiculous. Daniel, what did you find in your research?
Okay, so I decided to cover a little bit of the best and worst in AI video games, sourced from multiple articles across platforms such as What Culture, The Gamer, Game Rant, things like that. I checked out multiple kind of lists and articles talking about what have been dubbed the best and worst, and I pick and chose some based on various reasons. But a big one we're going to start with. This is for the worst AI. Okay, this is my list for the worst AI in games.
You found these games on on multiple
Yes, these are like
different
kind of
lists?
like across different lists.
Okay, so known. This is known.
This is all known stuff, which I thought I'd kind of throw in, but I chose them for kind of specific reasons, and I think you'll see why. So, Crysis 2. These are in no particular order or whatever or degree of it.
Really?
Just going to start with
I don't
Crysis
remember
2.
Crysis 2 at all.
I remember when the first one came out. I never played it. It looked cool. I remember Nathaniel playing it. It was like a really new kind of good-looking game with Crytek engine, etc. The Cry engine, yeah. So during marketing with Crysis 2, the developers claimed Crysis 2 would boast the most advanced AI system in a game. Okay? Big claim. That's a big claim. That's a bold claim. With truly intelligent, thinking,
What year was this?
fair enemies. But I don't remember. I don't have the year. I should probably have.
Well,
it,
the
but it's
first
not.
you're talking about the first Crisis game.
No, this is
No,
Crisis
talking
2.
about Crisis 2.
Oh, Crisis 2.
This
Okay.
is Crisis 2.
It was 2011.
2011, yeah.
Yeah, look it up for me if you can while I'm on the go. So they boasted it would have truly intelligent, thinking, fair enemies. And Games Radar quotes Servat Yearly, I don't know how to pronounce that, the spearheader at Crytek Studios, as saying that alien enemies and human allies in Crisis 2 will show tactical coordination, quote unquote, and will be, quote unquote, more challenging, but not unfair. So, What Culture reports that enemies in Crisis 2 will like run out of cover. I've never played the game, so I can't say out of personal experience. They will run out of cover directly into player lines of fire and get like stuck on walls. However, in ranged combat, can pinpoint you with like killer accuracy and
That's
killing,
the worst.
occasionally killing you through walls. So it kind of goes to what you're saying with the bots in like
Yeah.
Apex or whatever. All things considered, making for an obviously very frustrating and like uneven playing experience. So
That sounds horrible.
yeah. So that's just one example. And I mean, that's a pretty basic example. Just really dumb AI, like not covering their ass, not taking cover, no defensive maneuvers or anything like
Yeah.
that. Just running out and getting shot and getting stuck.
That's
on
why we
stuff.
call people who do that in Apex bots. People don't know how to play. They're just like standing in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that'd be me.
crouching and shooting at you. This is like, is this a real person? Like that person wasn't real.
Oh,
That's
'cause
why
you
you
Failed the
don't know.
Turing test.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
just like
you're-
that's well, no, you know they are because there's no bots in Apex. Well,
Oh,
maybe
right,
there is
that's
now.
Oh,
There is
okay.
now. If you just started playing, I think they added bots, but
Right.
like if I see that in one of my lobbies, there's no bots in my lobbies. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Like, is this person real?
Well, apparently in Crisis 2, though, the Crisis 2 remaster, okay, they came out with a remaster, and the developers did not fix the dumb AI issues. So that's sad. And that's apparently a big one. So Crisis 2,
I think
not
that's because that was such a huge, like when Crisis came out, that was like a big deal because it was
Yeah.
like the most graphically enhanced like
it was,
game.
yeah, it was beautiful.
That was the benchmark back then when it came out.
Yeah, maybe not for AI, apparently.
I don't know about Crisis
Apparently, it
2,
was
but
worse
when
than
first
the
one-
first game, too. The first game had better AI than the second one, allegedly,
Oh,
according
really?
to this article. So I don't know for sure. Like I said, I haven't played it, so I don't know. Moving on, the second game, now I added this list to the list deliberately, was Anthem by BioWare, which is slightly surprising. I remember when it came out, it came out kind of around the same time-ish as like,
Ooh,
I
yeah, I
thought
never even
anyway,
I dabbled.
Fortnite and like Apex and all these battle royales, right?
Was it a battle royale? No,
I thought so. Pretty sure.
no, it was a
Wasn't
team.
Or
It's
it
like
was
a team shooter, isn't it?
or was it like
Yeah, it was a
Destiny?
loot shooter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it
was
was
like-
more of a very, very linear Destiny. Like it was like
Right.
the levels
Okay,
were
maybe I got confused because it came out around the same time as those battle royales. I thought that was the Rage or something. Anyway, but it was a quote unquote massively expensive AAA project that spent years and years in the making. This is by
and it
BioWare again.
flopped.
Important.
It
Yeah,
flopped.
that's what I remember. So even in the beta tests, bad AI was flagged by test players from the get-go. Enemies will stand around. They'll stand around idle while players fire on them. They won't even take cover or fight back when they're alerted, and will run right by the player sometimes. When the player's standing in the open, they'll just run by you, allegedly. And I added it to
Sounds
my
so
list
dumb.
because I remember Nathaniel playing Anthem, and I was wondering if you remember this at all in your experience playing it.
yeah, I do remember it being very like
Bland.
boring in a way where you just like bland, like nothing was actively happening. I would just fly to this place, I'd shoot these no-brainers, collect my shit, and then fly out. Right? There was no like I never once thought how to approach the situation because you can see the enemies. I just
weren't
flew down.
challenged?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was pretty boring.
Okay, all right. So Anthem was another one apparently, not very good AI, and they just didn't fix it, and it was a problem from beta testing. So might want to stay away from that one. Aliens.
Been out for a while.
Yeah, I know. Aliens, Colonial Marines. I think this game's a bit older, but I thought there was an interesting little fact in here I wanted to talk about. So the xenomorphs in this game, I don't remember who the developer is or what year it was. I think it's like 2000, early 2010s or something.
What's it called? Aliens.
Yeah, it might even be pre-2010. Aliens, Colonial Marines.
Colonial Marines.
Yeah.
2000. The fuck? This is new. No, 2013. Sorry.
Oh,
2013.
2013. So xenomorphs, the xenomorph AI, which is the aliens, obviously, didn't behave like Ridley Scott's famed cunning predators. Okay, the aliens would rush into firefights, making it easy to mow them down with weapons, as well as sometimes even remaining totally unresponsive to the player. Could you imagine being like a huge Aliens fan, and like especially of the second movie, which is James Cameron's movie, and it was still had some creepy moments where they would, infiltrate the facility. And there were firefights and stuff, but it still had that creepy element where, well, this doesn't have it. I don't think this game had it.
You're not scared by the aliens. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Should the aliens be creeping around and like in the shadows?
They didn't behave like that. That wasn't that kind of game. They just like rushed into the player, and the player would just like and mow them down. But in fun fact, in 2013, so a few years after it actually came out, a modder did discover that this poor AI behavior was due to a typo in the game's code. They fixed the mistake, and the AI was significantly improved, allowing aliens to flank and take defensive measures at least.
Wow.
So just a typo in the code. This modder was like, oh, okay, that's not right. And then it actually ended up improving how the aliens would respond in a situation.
Cool. That is cool.
Wow. So it could just be one simple little thing that even the developers missed. You know what I mean?
Need a
so
new
anyway,
set of eyes on it.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was kind of cool. So kind of eye-opening in terms of the mechanics of it. So that was that one. Aliens, Colonial Marines. Might be okay to play now after this modder fixed it. I don't know. You have to get a modded version of it, though. But the other one, the final one on the list, which I found kind of funny, was The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker.
Really?
Enemies allegedly, again, I only played this a little bit. It was years ago on GameCube.
That game. I don't remember.
Exactly. So that's why I added it to the list, because you played it. So I wondered if you'd remember, but enemies were apparently very clumsy and unaware of their surrounding environments, bumping into objects in the world when alerted, but even hitting each other while pursuing players. But for that reason, it could have been maybe a good beginner, or I should say good for a beginning player as an introduction to the series back in the day. I don't know, but I wondered, Jonathan, if you remembered if they were stupid at all.
I don't recall that at all.
No?
No, I don't remember.
But yeah,
I just remember liking that game. I was like, that was a great game.
Yeah. Well, it was so unique when it came out.
You get your little boat, you're floating around.
The sailboat. I wish they'd bring that back, but I guess they kind of have in a weird way. But anyway, you got to
create it yourself.
You got to make it yourself. It's just very basic, stupid, clumsy, oblivious enemies in Zelda Wind Waker. But again, that could have just been because it was maybe they wanted it to be an easier experience. I don't know if that was I don't know if that was deliberate. There's no evidence that it was deliberate or unintentional. So anyway, I thought I would end that one and see what you guys thought about those games that you've played. Because I've never played any of those. I played a little bit of Wind Waker, but
those are a bit old. As you can probably tell, the older games, when they're just starting to implement like certain techniques of AI, that they're not great.
Yeah.
Right. But the typo thing is actually pretty insane.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's why I wanted to. And it kind of ties into the best AI segment that I have, which I'll share now.
Okay, well, what's the worst AI you've ever played?
That you recall. I don't even know if I can think of it, because like over the years, I would have to say, I hate to say it, but I would have to say, like the old, the Elder Scrolls games, even Skyrim, some of them are really stupid. So
yeah.
So, but it didn't affect my experience. I still love the game. So I think that's saying something. I do have an anecdote for best AI, which I'll share, like one of my own personal favorites, but for worst AI, I don't know if I could ever if I could ever say.
Yeah.
So anyway, let me get into a couple of the best AI, and these are widely regarded as having very good like benchmark AI, which you guys have probably already know, but I'll go into why, which you may not have looked into. So number one, we're going to start with is Fear, 2006, developed by Monolith Productions.
Oh, the same people who
yes.
made Middle Earth.
Correct. Correct.
wow.
So they're widely known. This game, I should say, is widely known for its very adept AI. So I was looking on a few websites, a few articles talking about in depth, like why it's very good. And there's this one website, Rock Paper Shotgun. I don't remember the name of the journalist or the gamer, whoever made the article, but he went into his experience and why he thought it was really cool. And I kind of wanted to share it. So this article he wrote claims that Jeff Orkin, which is Fear's senior engineer at Monolith, revealed that a simple AI system behind the game's enemies, coded by just one AI programmer, was put in place. The system relied on a planning-based system that gave soldiers a set of goals and a set of actions to achieve those goals, allowing the AI to choose which set of actions will achieve said goals. So it just, like, they gave them the options, and then based on the situation, the AI would just go through and plan and think it out for themselves.
Interesting.
So here are the following examples. So firstly, they'll communicate. The enemies, a lot of this is focused on AI enemies. So they'll communicate and coordinate. They'll shout
I
things
remember
like,
that. Yes.
I never
remember
played
that.
it. I watched Evan play.
I played it. It was hard. It was hard, and it was scary.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe this is why.
Yeah.
I remember back
So-
then. Yeah, it was just like, oh.
The enemies will shout, they'll communicate, they'll shout things like covering fire as they fire on you while their squad mates retreat to cover, which is really cool. It sounds basic, but that is really cool because that's basic, that's textbook maneuvering. They'll use shadows to conceal themselves, which I thought was very neat.
Oh, cool.
Because as the player,
Well, it's a horror game. Obviously,
Yeah.
they're going to hide in the shadows
yeah.
and jump out at you.
But the player is used to doing that, right? We're used to using shadows and thinking, oh, maybe they can't see me or whatever.
Thief.
But thief, yeah. I'll get you, Taffer. But another cool thing was they won't peek from cover in the same place. Instead, they'll crouch, walk behind covers, and emerge somewhere else if you are shooting at them from whatever. So it causes
I do
players
that
to...
as a human. That's what I
Right.
do.
Exactly. It's
It's so
freaky,
human
man.
like.
But it causes players to readjust aim, right? So soldiers, if you're shooting somebody around a corner, he peeps his head out, you shoot, he goes back, he'll come around somewhere else, and you have to waste time and energy moving your cursor and finding out where he is now, and so you're open to more shots or whatever, right? Soldiers will use grenades to flush players out of cover and into their line of fire, so that is kind of cool. I feel like that's not extremely rare. They use grenades
I
in
do
all
that.
types of games.
I do that. I do that.
yeah.
These are all things that I do, like in Apex. Chuck a grenade
But,
behind the rock where someone's hiding, and he
Yeah.
fucking walk right out. He'll walk right out into the open to get away from it.
Yeah, and I
Or
think
he'll
that's
eat it.
cool because then you're automatically seeing then that the AI is using techniques on the human level, right?
Yep.
So, according to rockpapershotgun.com, this fellow that wrote the article, his experience still, it's the enemy movement that allows Fear's AI to remain a cut above the rest 17 years later because they're constantly moving, changing cover, finding openings in the environment like doors and windows. They'll crash through windows. They'll roll over like window ledges, smashing the glass and getting into the hallway next to you to get to you type thing. So just to find some new angle on players without remaining in one spot for too long. So if you are taking cover as the player and you're taking cover for too long and then you go to look, they won't be there anymore. They'll have found a new place to get a better angle on you type thing, which is really cool. It keeps you on your toes. They also work together by forming impromptu squads based on their proximity to one another. So if they're close to each other, they're going to work together as a unit to defeat you, the player. Each aware of each other's actions, apparently. So if one was going to take this AI prompt or AI behavior, the other would know that one was going to do that and do something different, I think.
Just listen to this. we're so fucked if AI becomes like,
Yeah, I
you know
know.
what I mean? This is what it would be doing to us, but on a crazier scale.
Yeah.
Training us,
There's a
training
trailer
us
at the movies
or
last night.
killing us.
There was a trailer at the movies last night about an AI. It's coming out. I don't remember what it's called. An AI triggering a nuclear explosion.
Oh yeah, I like it. It looks good.
What's it called?
I don't remember.
It's
think
with the
it
guy
sounds
from
familiar.
Ballers. And Tenant,
I don't
think.
don't-
The main
I
guy
don't
from
remember the
Tenet.
faces. Yeah, something like that. But I remember saying to Kyle next to me, I was like, I just don't see a world where that doesn't happen anymore. Like where they're just like, well, I can destroy the planet with a nuclear explosion and have some weird rationale for it and just do it. Anyway.
Yep.
Scary.
Like not even think about it. Just do it. Because they've calculated X amount of endpoints and they're like,
Right.
to save this planet, humans must be eradicated. It's the only way.
And they're just like,
So
that
do
is
it.
the only choice.
Yep.
Done.
I don't want to think about that. It's like you have to keep it off the internet. You just got to keep it off the internet.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's impossible.
You got to keep everything disconnected. You got to keep it air gapped, and then it'll write programs. It'll write programs itself. So, and anytime someone plugs like a USB into something connected to it, they'll replicate it onto that USB, hoping that they'll plug that into something else, like a spyware, like
Yeah.
fucking Stuxnet. We're gonna get Stuxneted by the AI. It's gonna shut us down.
Cyberdyne systems.
Cyberdyne systems. Model 101.
Anyway, no, I'll move on here. So I just want to say there's no direct commands for enemy AI in Fear. For the enemy behavior, I should say. Instead, complex action is taken after soldiers analyze and react to their environment. So that's kind of the points, the examples that we have based on this planning-based system that they implemented. And kind of as a last little fun point to immerse the player, for the player experience, enemies decide what actions they'll take, and then the communicative prompts come between each other. So like when they say flush them out and throw a grenade, they've already decided that they need to flush you out of cover, and they'll make that decision, then say that prompt. So it's just to keep you engaged as a player. So those are actually made; those decisions are made before the verbal prompts. So that was Fear. I thought that was really cool because this game was developed in 2006, and it's said to have been rivaled by Half-Life's AI, which is actually kind of funny, but I didn't show it to you.
Yeah.
I remember playing Half-Life a little bit, but
The first Half-Life? Yeah, I actually don't recall.
Half-Life
it at all.
2 was so
Half-Life,
fucking sick.
Yeah, Half-Life 2, I played the shit out of.
Oh man, it
that
was
was
so
cool.
good. Yeah.
anyway, so that was Fear. Number 2, Jonathan.
Are
you'll
you
like
doing?
this
Are
one.
you doing a whole list here now?
No.
You're doing a list?
This is this is my last big one.
Oh, okay.
But
we're
I
already at
chose these
140.
two because they're kind of equivalent to the size of my worst AI
yeah.
games. But we're going in depth, right? So just these two. So the next one and the final one, across multiple sources. This is like all 3 sources that I was looking at. Was Alien Isolation.
Oh, really?
So yeah, which I thought was funny because it's another Alien game. This is like the Alien game that people playing Alien Marine whatever wanted. You know what I mean?
So scary. So scary.
Yeah, thegamer.com has a really great article I was reading through called The Perfect Organism, 7 Terrifyingly Amazing Facts About Alien Isolation's AI. So I'm going to read through just a few of these. There's 7 of them. I won't
hit
go
us
into
with
too
it.
much. So the first one is that it is actually 2 AI systems at play in the game. Okay?
Oh, okay.
2 AI entities. One called the Director AI and the Behavior Tree. The Director AI is omniscient, so it knows everything. It knows where the player is, what they're doing at all times,
Okay.
as well as the location of the xenomorph, the alien. But it never tells the alien specifics or what to do. So that's where the behavior tree comes in, which is coded for the xenomorph. The alien has a vast flowchart of possible responses. This is directly from this article, from the Director AI. So while it never is told details from the director, it uses that information to guide its behavior. So whether it's going to lay an ambush or actively enter stalking mode and come after you, or just explore the ship and prowl and and scan and shit like that until the player fucks up and then kills you. So I thought that was really cool. So it's like, it's not cheating because it's not telling the xenomorph exactly what's happening. It just gives it kind of a set of guidelines, how to respond given its own limitations as an AI. So anyway, number 6, it walks. It walks around. It does not spawn or despawn. The xenomorph constantly is just on the prowl around the map. It's just really good at getting from A to B, because that's what's scary about it. It has these senses that slithers around, it walks and it prowls. It doesn't just like appear in front of you, because like a lot of horror games, that's how they would code it or whatever.
It gets to you in a certain pathfinding way.
It gets through. It goes through vents. It gets to you.
You guys didn't even play. You didn't even play it.
I know, and now I'm so curious to play it. I want to try it now.
So scary. So scary.
But it's common in horror video games for enemies to teleport, whilst off screen, allowing them to attack from players from, unexpected directions at the worst time possible. But the xenomorph, it just is really good at slithering around. So it just finds you, and that's how you just come across it. It's just almost chance, I guess, because it has its own way of finding you, or it could be chance. The other ones I have down are, it's guided by senses. So it has basic things like hearing and sense of smell. Now, I don't know, Jonathan, in the game, do you have like an odor, like a smell? I don't understand how that works.
Like a fart? Like
it's
a
probably
shit?
just a proximity thing.
Maybe a proximity thing?
Even if it can't hear you, it just knows you're there by smelling.
Right. So obviously sight as well, which it will change its tactics. The xenomorph will change its tactics if it notices, for instance, that the player is armed with something. So it'll be like, okay, so if player's armed, then I have these options. And they may be more aggressive, which is fucking really cool. Now there is something that they added, though, I think, to balance out, like if a player's really good at the game, it basically put eyes on the back of the xenomorph's head kind of thing. So it knows when so you can't get the jump on it too much, because then it would just kind of ruin the game, the whole point of the game, of the experience. But like, you don't get the jump on the xenomorph. The xenomorph gets the jump on you type thing. I think that's how they did
kill it. Like you can't
right.
do anything
so
about it.
What's the point, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought that was kind of cool. So the senses, but this one's really neat. It learns from pain. So if you, for instance, have a flamethrower and you use it against this alien, it will drive off the xenomorph, but it will eventually, the more you use it against it, not be afraid of the fire, because it knows what to expect. And then it's like, oh, it's almost like a gamer beating a hard level. You're just like, okay, so I do this multiple times. I know how to defeat this now. So it won't always be.
This guy's
going to
shoot flames at me. I'm going to crawl up into the vents.
Yes,
and then I'm going to bite its head off from down top.
Yeah, and it says not only will the Xeno change its tactics to deal with the problem, it'll actually start hanging around for longer whilst getting blasted as it gets used to the pain. So maybe it'll start taking, like, quote unquote, less damage, right? So it's crazy, because that makes you have to be like, okay, so I shouldn't use that too much. I have to really pull out the big guns when I need them, or whatever. Very, very cool. The other one was, this one's kind of the neat one. It's just curious. So if it's walking around the space station and it'll see something like a flag interest point, it'll just like stop and look at it and like walk around, you know what I mean? And it'll kind of like do sweeps of the area, occasionally double backing in case it missed something. It'll just kind of like, you know what, I'm going to go do that again. So if you're following it and trying to avoid it, you're like, oh, it passed me by.
Hard.
And it'll come back and be like, oh,
It's
if
so
you went
hard.
to go do a move or something, you're like, oh, now's my chance. You know what I mean? And it doubles back. You're like, oh, fuck. So I thought that was really cool. It sweeps the environments. But the last one I thought was really cool, and probably the scariest of all, was that it still surprises the developers, its own creators.
Wow.
So-
eh?
Yeah, because it's so unscripted and has its own intelligence, like players can't really plan for anything when it shows up. You can't, expect to know what's going to happen or whatever. So the developers referred to play testing against the alien as going on a safari because they could never predict exactly what was going to happen during each test. So sometimes they barely encounter the xenomorph at all, or they would die within 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
So I thought that was really cool because their own creation, they can't tell you what's going to happen. It's just every time you play it is this really unique kind of personal experience. So it made me want to play the game. Reading through this, I was like, I may pick this up for our next, maybe this summer or for the approaching,
Spooktoberfest?
God, dude.
the approaching spooky season. That's a horror game I would play because it's just like the movies. I'm not a horror movie guy, but when there's a work of art
VR.
involved, oh God, no, never.
Imagine playing that in VR. It's available. It's available.
So
What
yeah,
is?
tons
Not
of
for
people
PSVR,
raving
but
about
Alien Isolation. You can play it on
Yeah.
PC for VR.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh God, I know you should do
There's
it
reactions of people.
and make videos. Yeah, make some videos of it, just like your
I
Resident
can't.
Evil one.
It's not for PSVR
can't.
2.
Oh, okay. My last one, just as the personal anecdote, was it always comes to mind every time I think of AI and not just enemy AI, but NPC AI is Red Dead Redemption 2 because of the basically that every NPC has its own schedule.
Their lives.
And they've got shit to do. Their lives. They work on the farm. NPCs that have quests or whatever you want to call them, missions, stories that wait for you on a hilltop somewhere. They won't be there forever. They will leave at one point if you don't show up during the hours of their availability.
Oh, right.
And they'll go do something else, and you'll see them in town. But also just scripted things like, I don't know if it's scripted, but like if you're walking, I watched a video, I looked it up. I was like, let me see what kind of AI behaviors they have in Red Dead 2. But in that cutscene, if you're walking with John Marston and you go to throw some bodies in a marsh, but John Marston throws his and it lands not in the marsh and instead hits something that's in the way and the body falls to the ground. He'll pick up that body again and move and do it again and put it in the water and make sure that that's like, so it has that problem solving kind of capability where it's like, oh, that didn't work. The result didn't work. So I thought that was cool. But also NPCs will respond to you differently if you're covered in mud, if you look like shit, or if you walk into a saloon with like your morality meter completely to like bandit or whatever you call it, evil. The music will stop playing. The piano player stops when you walk into a saloon. That's really cool because it just makes you look more menacing.
Sick.
I just love that game so
Everyone's
much.
like,
And-
huh?
Yeah.
Looking around.
Everyone stops and everyone freezes. But I also like the firefights in that game. Also made me feel like I was watching a Western movie. It's just like I love seeing the guys just sprinting across the lawns and trying to hide behind trees and finding cover. And like they would kill me a lot. I would die a lot in that game because I wasn't even watching what I was doing sometimes because maybe I underestimated the AI during the gunfight.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love that game. That's my personal favorite in terms, or at least one of them is
Yeah,
definitely
mine
Red
probably
Dead Redemption 2.
is one of the GTAs. I just love GTA
Yeah.
AI. It's so stupid and funny and just my favorite.
5 maybe, GTA 5 or so.
Yeah, GTA 5, like people flying around, driving around and doing stupid shit. You see an ambulance like going by with the lights on, you like follow it and it's going to some accident that AI had somewhere.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's so
That's
dumb. It's very funny. I love that
Yeah,
shit.
see, Rockstar
I love the
actually was on
live-
the list.
Yeah, I love the live living world, the breathing
Yeah.
world, those games like RDR and GTA.
Rockstar was on the list for game developer studios that are like making leaps and strides in AI. So and Red Dead 2 and GTA 5 were both on the examples list. Anyway, that's all I had just to kind of go into some. I think the most important takeaway is those two best AI examples. Fear, if you're looking for an older game to play, but also Alien Isolation,
Yes.
which I really want to try out. So
I
don't know.
recommend it, even though it's very scary.
I'll
But
just get some diapers.
So there you go. There we got it. We learned a little bit about AI. We learned a little bit about where it came from, how it works. You know, the worst and the best. But I think we'd like to know, you, dear listener, what's your favorite or least favorite AI in a game? Enemies, NPCs, whatever, what have you? Let us know. Let us know in the comments below. Alrighty, well, that's it for this week's episode. Thanks for tuning in. Give us a rating and review if you liked what you heard on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen. It helps us get out to their more listeners who may enjoy the show. And if you have anything you want to share with us, you can leave us a comment on the video on YouTube or tweet us at Elder Trolls Pod. You can shit talk us or ask us any questions. Do whatever you need to do. Thanks, everyone. And we hope you have a wonderful day.
Peace.
See ya.